Welcome back to the channel, Coach K's Easy Offense. I'm going to start a series today of episodes where I share some of my biggest on the field blunders as far as a coach. And I don't mean necessarily getting thrown out of the game. I never have been thrown out of the game, but just decisions that I made that were poor choices. And they had some big ramifications in the game. Now I'll say this: if you're a head coach or coordinator of any kind, you're gonna make mistakes over time. That's just what happens. Sometimes dumb decisions can end up good, and sometimes the best decisions can end up bad. So don't take what I share the wrong way. Just want to share some things that I have learned from, because I do think that we can learn from our mistakes and we can improve on them. So I want to share today the first of a few coaching blunders. Okay, so you saw the scenario on the title there. Um, we were on the road in a big game, and we had the ball with a minute and a half left, feeling really good with a chance to finish off a huge win for our program against the number one team in the state. And let me just run the clip first and let you watch it, and you won't really see what mistake I made. But I'll explain it to you when we watch it a second time. And I will say this: I don't think, and I never really heard anybody in the stadium or any of the fans or parents, it wasn't come after me on this one or criticize me. But it was my first year as a play caller, and it was going really well. I mean, we had a great team, a very experienced team, so it was easy to call plays. You can't really screw up when you've got very talented senior players who have a lot of experience. So let's play the clip, and then I will come back to it. Okay, so there you saw it. You see a long pass to get us down into scoring range. And then what you didn't see was a timeout in between after we get down to the 15-yard line or so. Believe we drew an offsides penalty. It's been 8 years. This happened 8 years ago. I believe we drew an offsides penalty to get down to the 10. And then I called, actually I called timeout at that point, and that was our last timeout. And in my mind, I'm thinking, I don't want to take a knee, and I don't want them to get so nervous about a bad handoff. But what I want to do is just run some clock, run inside zone. Our kicker likes to be on the left hash. He's a very good kicker. Let's run the clock down and kick the winning field goal. Our starting running back was injured, but we had two very talented running backs that you can see. They were in the game. And so we call inside zone left, and I'm thinking, let's get 3 or 4 yards, and let's run some clock and get it way down, kick a field goal, either with little time left or no time left. And lo and behold, the kid breaks 5 tackles, makes an incredible run, as you see there, and scores a touchdown. Now let me show you what happened the rest of the way after that. So that leaves about a minute left for our opponent without timeouts to go score. There was a controversial sack and a fumble that was somehow called a forward pass. It was called incomplete. But none of it would, and then eventually you see right here, the game-tying touchdown. We lose in overtime, and really the focus of the game afterwards from the players and the fans was, really a controversial call that didn't go our way, and we just played a great game, and we just fell short, had some bad luck. But what I remember as we drove away that night and on the drive home was, if we had just taken a knee, down the ball 3 times, just stayed in that 2-back set, just protected it like it was victory formation, kicked a field goal, would have won, and and the kicker was very solid. He wasn't going to miss. We would have won the game. but that didn't happen. Instead, we lost a heartbreaking game. Just for some context, we actually, the following week, that number one team that beat us went on to get upset. And then we beat the team that upset them. So we actually, in a three-way tie, ended up having a tiebreaker for first place because we only lost in overtime. And the other two teams lost in regulation and lost more district points. Ended up going on the state quarterfinals that year. Had a great team, but that choice just really haunts me. And really, again, I don't really care about backlash really, but I didn't get much from it. There was much more of a focus on some of the controversial calls, and really just a great game between two great teams. But in my head, I knew that instead of just, who would ever dream that, the running back was a good kid, tough kid, and made some great runs in his career, and that may have been the best one, but you don't anticipate that happening. Just breaking so many tackles to score the winning the go-ahead touchdown. It wasn't the winning touchdown. But 5 years later, my first year as a head coach, we got down to the 5-yard line with a minute left, and we were tied. We took 3 knees and kicked the game-winning field goal from just basically an extra point with no time on the clock. It was a huge win for our program. So I hated that the kids from 2012 didn't get to enjoy that success on that night. And really, the next 2 times we played that opponent, we beat them in 2 more great football games. So in some ways, it evened itself out. But it's just one of those things. As being a coach, you're going to have some nights when you realize you made the wrong choice. That was one I have. I'll share another one very soon in the next episode. If you have a memory that you can explain and leave a comment to something that you did that we can all learn from, share it below. I'd like for you to subscribe and like. Appreciate you coming to the channel. We'll see you soon.